Hello everybody! Today I'm going to talk about the immune system. Warning! Before this video begins, I have to inform you that there's a disgusting picture of a tumor. If you don't want to see it, then turn your head when I say so. I'm sure you know what the immune system is. It's the body's defense against germs, or for the fancy word, pathogen. So think of the immune system as two teams, the good guys and the bad guys. The good guys will be the defending cells and the bad guys will be the germs. On the good guys side, there are three main cells that do a lot of the work. They are T lymphocyte cells, B lymphocyte cells, and phagocyte cells. Okay, let's say that some pathogens want to infect the body. They either have to go through a thick layer of skin, or stomach acid, or snot. And if they don't make it, either they would be stuck, burned in the acid, or turned into boogers. And if they somehow make it through all those obstacles, well, this will be the big time job for the white blood cell brothers. The first cell is the T lymphocyte cell, or for short, a T cell. What the T cell does is that it investigates known pathogens. Once it finds one, it will go signal a B cell to make the right type of antibodies. So pretty much I would call the T cell the spy. Where I left off is when the B cell made the antibodies. Well, what does it do with the antibodies? It shoots them at the pathogen. Those antibodies will give side effects to the pathogens, like clumping up with other pathogens or attacking its own allies, and harming, weakening, and slowing them. So I would call the B cell the engineer. The next cell is an eater. What it does is it engulfs marked pathogens. You know those antibodies? Yep, that's what they're used for. Not also to give them side effects and give time for the phagocytes to come, but also to mark them for the phagocytes to have dinner for. And the phagocyte's closest cousin is the T killer cell. But instead of attacking marked pathogens, it attacks the body's own respiratory cells. Except that's good, because it only attacks the infected respiratory cells. So I'll call this cell the heavy. Now that I've talked about the defender cells, we have to know about the invaders, or pathogens. Let's start off with bacteria. Everybody hates bacteria. Bacteria are one-celled living creatures that infect the body in many ways. The effects can vary from food poisoning to strep throat. You can never have enough because there are thousands of species all over the world, and they attack the immune system directly. This may sound bad, but they're alive. You can be treated with antibiotics, but only take them when a doctor advises it. Next are viruses. Viruses are actually not living things. They're actually also made up of particles. Their way of attacking is by infecting red blood cells. The virus will put in some proteins and DNA to make the red blood cell to produce more viruses. The poor victim cell is destroyed in the process, releasing more viruses. The next germ are protists. Protists are ordinary germs, except that the only way you can catch them is being injected by them. And then there is fungi. Most of the time, fungi only infect the skin, but once they get below the skin, you better get a doctor quick. Now that you know about the good cells and the bad cells, you have to know how to prevent these infections. Here are some tips on how to keep yourself from getting infected. What they say every day before you eat: wash your hands. Washing your hands will get rid of most germs from the soap, and then they will be washed down the drain. Unless you get permission from an adult, you should always eat food that is well cooked. Cooking the food will get rid of most pathogens that are lurking in uncooked foods. With the right heat and a right amount of time, you can have a well-cooked and healthy and safe meal. Have a headache? Drink some water. That's most of the problem why you have a headache. Drink water to stay well hydrated. Before cooking or eating vegetables, you should always wash them. You should do this just in case there is some dirt and pesticides on your vegetables or fruit. Painful, but totally worth it. Vaccines can save your life. What they're injecting into your bloodstream is dead or weak pathogens. What's happening in your bloodstream is that T cells are investigating the new virus. Soon there'll be a new B cell to make the right antibodies, and soon phagocytes will be eating a new type of lunch. Sleeping and keeping warm when you're sick is a great idea. When you sleep, you keep your body well rested, and staying warm will help your immune system fight better. So stay well rested. When you ever get a cut and it's bleeding, what you should do is that you should wash the cut. It's going to be a little painful or a lot, but it's definitely worth it. Why? What you're doing is taking out any pathogens that are trying to get a shortcut into your bloodstream. At the end of the day, what you should do is wash items that are touched frequently, like a toilet seat, or a toilet handle, or a doorknob, or a book, or anything. And the last type of disease I'm going to talk about are non-infectious diseases. These are diseases that cannot be spreaded unless it's through blood. The first non-infectious disease I'm going to talk about is cancer. What cancer does to your cells is it makes them multiply far than average. Warning, I'm telling you now that the tumor picture is coming up. If you don't want to see it, then turn your head right now. This is a tumor. What a tumor does is that it invades healthy tissue, and then it destroys it, and soon cancer cells from the tumor can break away from the tumor and infect blood and lymph vessels. Diabetes is a sickness when there is too much sugar in the blood. To stay safe, what they do is they get a drop of blood, and they use a special tool to measure how much sugar there is in the blood. When it's low, they can stay calm. But when it gets too high, they gotta get the doctor quick. And that's all there is to top it off. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and get these tips in handy. And remember, stay healthy.